Vicksburg, Pikeville, Gravelburg, Colorado, Ellensburg, Rexburg, Vicksburg, Elder, Valley, Laramie, Admore, Haverstraw, Chattanooga, Chaska, Nebraska, Alaska, Opelika, Waterloo, Kansas, Kansas City, Sioux City, City, Dodge City, what a pity, I've been everywhere, man.
Wow. Have you ever seen anything like this? Good morning. Welcome to another episode of the Clarion Call. You know, sometimes I like to shoot off my mouth and give my opinion on stuff. And sometimes I just like to enjoy good music, and today is going to be the latter. I mentioned a number of times that I purchased at the flea market a whole big book of country music CDs. And this past week I put in a Hank Snow CD, and man, is he good. For those who don't know him, he was considered a country music singer, but I see a lot of rock and roll in his style. He was performing in Canada in the 30s, and then he started to make a mark in America, and he moved to Nashville, I believe, in 1949. And after that, his career just took off. He had a bunch of number one songs, including this one from 1963. You may be familiar with this song, I've Been Everywhere, and I was familiar with the song because Johnny Cash did a cover of it. When I put my CD in, I found out that Hank Snow actually had done the original Americanized version of the song. The song originated in Australia, actually, but then they decided to make it a North American version, so they changed all the place names. Just a remarkable vocal performance here by Mr. Snow. Very, very talented. Let's hear a little bit, and then I'll break some of it down as to how he's doing what he's doing.
The man that's been everywhere, Hank Snow. With me you can ride. So I climbed into the cab and then I settled down inside. He asked me if I'd seen a road with so much dust and sand, and I said, listen bud, I've traveled every road in this here land. I've been everywhere, man, I've been everywhere, man. Proud the desert bare, man, I breathe the mountain air, man. Travel, I've had my share, man, I've been everywhere.
Where you been, man?
And the Reno, Chicago, Fargo, Minnesota, Buffalo, Toronto, Winslow, Sarasota, Wichita, Tulsa,
Wow. I gotta slow that down for everybody. Been to Reno, Chicago, Fargo, Minnesota. He's going to mention place names all over both United States and Canada, where he was originally from Canada. And so you see Toronto sneaking in there in the second line. But the pattern is the first three places he names in each line, he's rhyming. Reno, Chicago, Fargo. Then he goes to Minnesota, which doesn't rhyme. But when he gets to the end of the second line, he says Sarasota. So he's rhyming the ends of each couplet, each two lines. And internally, he's rhyming the first three towns in each one. That may have helped him remember the lyrics. I don't know how in the hell he even remembered the lyrics. Talking so fast, singing so fast. It's almost like an auctioneer's chant, except an auctioneer is repeating, basically just numbers. He's putting different words in there. It's just remarkable. And you probably already noticed it's much, much more up-tempo than the Johnny Cash song. The Johnny Cash song is very famous because I think it's been used in a number of television commercials, so everyone has probably heard the chorus to this song. But very few people probably know all of the towns that are mentioned here. I'm going to back it up and see if you can pick them out. Even with the words on the screen, it's hard to keep up with how fast he's going.
And the Reno, Chicago, Fargo, Minnesota, Buffalo, Toronto, Winslow, Sarasota, Wichita, Tulsa.
Did you hear at the very end? He rhymed Padilla. I think he said Amarilla instead of Amarillo. But then at the very end he said, it's covered up a little bit on the screen, but he said, I'm a killer. And at the end of each of these stanzas, he throws in a line like that, kind of commenting on the song. It's not a place name. All right, hang on to your hats. Here we go.
Boston, Charleston, Dayton, Louisiana, Washington, Houston, Kingston, Texarkana, Monterey, Ferry, San Jose, Tallahassee, Glen Rock, Black Rock, Little Rock, Oskaloosa, Tennessee, Kansas City, Chippewa, Spirit Lake, Randall Lake, Devil Lake, Cradle Lake, a beach, a guy that everywhere, man.
Well, I've been to a lot of these places, but the one that stuck out to me was Glen Rock. I looked it up. There's only 2 Glen Rocks in the United States. One's in New Jersey, one's in Pennsylvania. I'm not sure which one he's referring to, but I suspect it might be Glen Rock, Pennsylvania, which I'm very familiar with because that's in York County where I lived for 5 years in the early 70s. And I spent many a day in Glen Rock. Most of the towns are bigger, you know, big cities that people know. So, but Glen Rock, that's a tiny little town.
Kansas City, Chippewa, Spirit Lake, Randall Lake, Devil Lake, Cradle Lake, a beach, a guy that everywhere, man. I've been everywhere.
By the way, did you catch that at the end of that line? He does all the lakes, you know, Cradle Lake, and then he says, "For Pete's sake."
Where, man, round the desert's bare, man. I breathe the mountain air, man. I travel, I've had my share, man. I've been everywhere. Louisville, Nashville, Knoxville, Omaha, Sheffield, Jacksonville, Waterloo, Costa Rica, Pittsfield, Springfield, Bakersfield, Shreveport, Hackensack, Cadillac, Frontenac, Davenport, Idaho, Jellicoe, Argentina, Diamantina, Pasadena, Catalina, see what I mean? Driving everywhere, man. I've been everywhere, man. From the desert's bare, man. I breathe the mountain air, man. I travel, I've had my share, man. I've been everywhere. Pittsburgh, Pikeville, Gravelburg, Colorado, Ellensburg, Rexburg, Vicksburg, Elder, Valley, Laramie, Atmore, Haverstraw, Chattanooga, Chaska, Nebraska, Alaska, Opelika, Barrow, Waterloo, Kansas, Kansas City, Sioux City, City, Dodge City, what a pity. I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere, man. Round the desert's bare, man. I breathe the mountain air, man. Travel, I've had my share, man.
You know somewhere you haven't been.
I've been everywhere.
Wow. Have you ever seen anything like this? Early on, when Howard was still working with me, we did Dylan's Subterranean Homesick Blues, and there was some debate whether that was the first rap song. Came out around 1965, I believe. Well, we're going to have to back it up a couple of years because there's a lot of rappers that can't talk that fast and can't remember lyrics like that. That's just incredible. What a great, fun song. And how many of those places have you been to? A lot of them are pretty small towns. They didn't work in Geneseo, which is where I live, but maybe the next version. Hope you enjoyed that as much as I did.